Hello everybody, it is I, GoChaser48, bringing you a new show of my cardfight Vanguard deck. Royal Paladin, of course. While I don't have the card yet, this is the deck I've created while playing on the online version called Beyond. 40 card deck of standards, 16 triggers. I should explain more as this goes. Note to you all, this is my first time using my movie maker, so forgive me and my editing. Now then, shall we begin? Okay, so far this is my standing Vanguard, Stardust Trumpeter. Since Barkgirl was banned from being the Vanguard, but you can still use them in a Royal Paladin deck, I've decided to go with this one. With 6,000 attack, it pretty much makes it one of my strongest grade 0s for my standing Vanguard, should I not draw a grade 1. Because at least then it allows me, if I do draw a trigger, to get at least 11,000 out of her. But then again, there are 3 others. I just prefer Stardust Trumpeter due to the fact it's got Stardust in its name. It's like Stardust Dragon. But I digress. Next card. So yeah, next we've got Alabaster Owl, critical trigger. Since I'm not using Barkgirl, there's no point me having Lou in here, and I don't know about Bringer of Hope, Epone. I just like the look of Alabaster Owl. So this is my critical trigger, and I run him in 4. Okay, we have Arms Trader Govano. This is my draw trigger, and Margel, another draw trigger. Both of them grade 0. Margel is 4,000 attack though, and both of them are 5,000 defense. When both are drawn, either a draw trigger or a crit or damage trigger, I then get to draw 1 extra card before the next trigger. Should it be Twin Drive? Margel's effect, unlike Governor, is when this is in the Vanguard, I can send it to the Soul for a Soul Charge to power up a Vanguard or Rearguard by 3,000. Next we have Flogel, a stand trigger, 0 again, 10,000 defense like Alabaster Owl and my heal trigger. When this is drawn in drive check or damage check, I get to stand a Rearguard. Finally, we have Elaine, a heal trigger, when she is drawn either through damage or drive. If I have more or equal damage to my current opponent, as long as this is not the actual card that equals it, I can then heal by taking away 1 damage. So yeah, just to recap, I have 1 Stardust Trumpeter, 4 Alabaster Owl for critical, 2 Governor for 2, 4 Margel for Soul Charge for 4 on my draws. So that's 6 draw triggers, 2 Flogel for my stands, and 4 heal triggers in Elaine. So I'm sure people will probably say this is well out of balance, but I don't tend to favour the criticals or the stands. I tend to favour the draws, as I prefer to have the hand advantage over power in all sense, because sometimes I really don't have the options when I have very little cards. So by having a better hand, I always come out with a better advantage on myself. But it all depends. It's my opinion really on that one. So yeah, that's a total of 17 grade 0. With grade 1s, we start with Flash Shield Isolde, 0 defense, 6,000 attack. By discarding a Royal Paladin from my hand to the graveyard, she will then make sure any attack I take for that 1 battle will be 0 damage. So if I'm attacked by the Vanguard and they're attacking my Vanguard, and I could take, and it would basically do, if I'll take full 6 damage, by playing her, I will basically nullify any damage taken. She, like many other grade 1s in other clans, do the same thing, but in Royal Paladin she is the only one, and that makes her a very strong card to have in your hand when defending. Next we have Little Sage Maron, another grade 1, one of my beat sticks of the deck. With 8,000 attack, she has very little stopping her in the grade 1s, especially when the trigger hits in at 13k. I run 4 of her and basically use it as a, just as I said, a beat stick to push forward in heavy attacks. Next we have the grade 1 Pongal. By using a counter blast, which is flipping one of my damages, I place this one into the soul and allows me to search the deck for a Soul Saver Dragon. And then by revealing Soul Saver Dragon to my opponent, I then get added to my hand. This is basically used to soul charge, so by the time I've reached grade 3, I've got 4 cards, 1 on top, 3 in the soul. By playing Pungal, that gets me 4 in the soul, 1 on top, so by playing Soul Saver, I can then use the 5 in the soul for a Soul Blast. I'll explain more upon showing you. Next we have Wingle, a grade 1 6,000 attack. This I use in combination with Blaster Blade. When this one boosts Blaster Blade, it goes up by another 4,000 attack, making from Blaster Blade from 9,000 to 19, which makes a good combination for a heavy beating. It's just another little beat stick, but for a power boost. Next, we have the Grade 1 Young Pegasus Knight. When a card is soul charged, be it like I do with Pongal or I use the Grade 3 skills, he will go up by 3,000 attack. So if I soul charge in like 3 cards in one turn, he will go up by basically up by 9, making him 15, making him a good basically another high powered attacker for a boost. So there you have it for my Grade 1s. We've got Isolde at 3, Maron at 4, Pungal at 3, Wingull at 1. I'm sure people will probably say should go with 2, and I have Young Pegasus Knight at 4. So I've got 2 heavy hitters in Maron and Pegasus Knight, Pungal for shell charging, and Isolde for defense. I'm sure there's probably a better place to swap for Wingull. If you guys have any tips, please feel free to offer. Okay, for Grade 2s, we have Blaster Blade, 9,000 attack, 5,000 defense. I'm sure some of you can read the English text on it, but I'll continue. When he's summoned in the rear guard or in the Vanguard, it's a counter blast of 2. While in the Vanguard, I can retire any of the rear guard from Grade 0 to Grade 3, but in the rear guard I can only Grade 2 and higher. So it's a course of tactically knowing where to place Blaster Blade, and if you draw him when you want to play him in the Vanguard. Overall, he's a good attacker, and combined with Wingull, he becomes at 19. So, nothing really else much to say on him. Next we have Flame Swordsman Baromedes. 8,000 attack, 5,000 defense. This card normally works conjunction that as long as I have 2 or more Grade 3, her attack power will go up by 3,000, making her 1,100. Basically, in real Paladins, they are a lot of boosting anyway in these kinds of decks. So it's just basically another high-powered beast stick. From what I can gather, Royal Paladins do seem to have the high density of a lot of boosting for strong attack strength. So combined with Maron, I've got at least 1,900 with 2 Grade 3. Next, we have Knight of Silent Galatine. Basically, Knight Maron, he is just another beast stick with 10,000 attack. Strongest of the Grade 2s for pure attack plus strength only. No skills at all to him. Same effect as every other Grade 2. Intercept with 5,000 shield. Not much to say, is that in any situation, combined with Maron, 18,000 at best. Either way, he's still a strong attacker and meets most Grade 3s in attack strength anyway. So that's why he's top of my Grade 2s list. In the Grade 2s, I also have Knight of Truth Gordon. Sort of works like a Grade 2 Isolde, except not as strong. When Gordon is used to intercept, his shield is currently at 5. If he was to intercept, his shield then doubles to 10,000. Basically, if I summon him to the rear guard section, he basically draws the attention of any of my opponents anyway, because they don't like having Gordon to defend, because he basically turns a 10,000 attack point Grade 3 into a 20,000 shield, into a total of 20,000 shield. Okay, so for Grade 2, I have 2 Blaster Blade for retirers, 1 Flame Swordsman for a boost beat stick, 4 Galatine for pure attack point beat sticks, and 3 Gordon for high defense. That there makes a total of 10 Grade 2. If anybody has their opinions for what could probably be better, once you've seen the final one's Grade 3s, please offer your opinion. Next is the Grade 3s with Demon Killer Knight Lohengrin, a Grade 3 of 10,000 attack. Just for you, those who don't know, Grade 3s have no shield on the side. I'm sure some of you have already spotted this, who have been watching. His skills, he's got 2. One of them is by soul charging. By taking the top card and making soul charging him, he then goes up by 2,000 attack. So for that term, so he becomes 12,000. His second skill is a Soul Blast, which is the number of cards underneath him currently, which would be 8, and a Counter Blast, which is the damage I have of 5. So as long as I have 5 unflipped damage counters and 8 cards in the Soul, I can use his effect. And his effect is to retire all my opponent's rear guard. So that basically means I can turn his entire field into nothingness, leaving only his Vanguard and any cards in his hand to defend him. I use him mainly in conjunctions with the young Knight Pegasus, so by soul charging him, I turn Knight Pegasus into a 9,000, making him in combination a total of basically giving him a 10,000 boost because it's free from Pegasus to fight for himself. So that's even if I send a trigger, it's a trigger boost anyway in conjunction, so it's still strong. I also use it in conjunction of Soul Saver Dragon because I just keep soul charging until I have enough, and then if I have Soul Saver, I'll place her on top and do her Soul Blast as well. That's my combination with Lohengrin. There you go. Next, we have the King of Knights, Alfred, grade 3. He has a number of skills that either work or don't. In the Vanguard, his skills are he cannot be boosted, so a rear guard cannot boost him, and his second skill is for every card in the rear guard, he goes up by an extra 2,000. So if I have a full set of 5 filling up, 5 spaces filled up in the rear guard, his total attack power is 20,000. His final skill is by flipping 3 damage counters, I then get to search my deck for a Royal Paladin of grade 2 or lower, and then play it anywhere in the rear guard. So I normally use him rear guard alongside Lohengrin. So by having him on the on one of the sides, I can search them for either a grade 2 or a grade 1 for boosting. Normally, I would play him in the rear guard and pull out the young Knight Pegasus and play it behind Lohengrin, as long as I got a grade 2 for defensive style. Otherwise, if I don't have Lohengrin, he will normally go as my standing Vanguard for a heavy beat sticker. He's just his attack spring is purely that strong. Other than that, there is no other reason why he's in here. He's just basically there for either shuffling the deck or a high attacker. Next, we have Soul Saver Dragon. When this card attacks a Vanguard, while it's in the Vanguard section, it gains 3,000 attack, making it 13 straight out. When this card is called to the Vanguard section, I have to Soul Blast. Most cards in the grade 3s will tend to say auto, or any card tends to say auto for a counter blast. If you don't use it, you can't use it again. So basically, when he's played, I can either choose to Soul Blast or don't. And by Soul Blasting, I send 5 of my soul to the grave, and I can then choose up to 3 of my rear guards and power them up by 5,000. So I could say I have Marin, Palamedes, and King of Knights Alfred. Alfred becomes 15,000, Marin becomes 13, and Palamedes becomes 15. And by combining Marin and Soul Saver, that's a 2,600 attack power twin drive beater, which makes it quite strong. Most people don't tend to survive Soul Saver's effect. It's using Soul Saver is a risk option, but it is strong for when you use it. Next, we have Swordsman of Exploding Flames, Palamedes. Like Flame Swordsman, this card works on the same effect. As long as there's 2 grade 3s or more on the field, he gains an extra 3,000 attack, making him 13. With him, I use him in the combination alongside Lohengrin and Alfred. So by using Alfred's skill, I'll get, say, another young Pegasus Knight, if I could, and play it behind maybe Palamedes as well. And by soul charging, Palamedes then gets an extra 9,000 behind him, making him 22. I did use this combination before with Alfred, and I had 2 Marin and a young Pegasus Knight, and I just basically kept hitting my opponent for heavy damage. Paladin is a huge powered beat stick in this deck, and is one of the strongest in combination with my combo. I can't really find anything better right now in that combination, unless there's something else. But the cards are still new, everything's going around it, so for now, this is currently my setup. So there you have it, these are my grade 3s. I have 2 Demon Killer for soul charging, 2 Alfred for deck shuffling, 2 Soul Saver for soul blasting and a heavy beat down on my opponent, and 2 Palamedes for the final attack if I have to basically drive through any full powered final hits. The cards tend to work quite well together. Soul Saver and Lohengrin tend to work most well together. Palamedes and Alfred, though they don't work together with any of them, they have their own unique abilities that can overall make the change in a fight. I tend to have my biggest combo does tend to come up with Palamedes, Lohengrin, Alfred, and then finishing off with Soul Saver if I can draw all 4 of those grade 3s. So yeah, that's my deck combo for the grade 3s. So there you have it, a 50 card Royal Paladin deck. Please leave your thoughts and opinions. Thank you. This is Gogeta48 signing out. どんなに遠く離
another